Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever in this great world you might be. My name is Jack Branch, and this is the Healthy Wealth Show, number 30. 30. I can't believe it's just been a few months. A friend of mine had challenged me to start doing this, giving value and highlighting different people in the world of faith, in the world of health, and then in the world of entrepreneurship. And today it's kind of a real special show I'm doing. You know, back last year in July, my wife, Renee, as many of you know, was diagnosed with breast cancer. And, you know, the purpose of the show is to help people get through the valleys of life. And, man, were we in a valley. You know, you get told that the love of your life has got cancer, and you don't really know what to do. And then, voila, God brings you some angels in your life, and one of them I'm about to interview today that just gives you a whole different perspective on life. And I'm here today to really talk about hope and what is an opportunity for you, and why not have somebody that has been in Renee's shoes, and maybe some of you are out there fighting this already. And that's a good friend of mine that actually is an advocate for many of the patients at the St. Charles Surgical Hospital and the Center for Restoration, Breast Restoration Center in New Orleans on St. Charles. My good friend Susan McMillan, how are you doing today, dear?
I'm doing great, Jack. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you coming on too. It's been an interesting year, you know, fighting this thing called breast cancer, and then starting to really get used to the new normal. So tell the viewers a little bit about you and how you got involved, Susan, with the hospital and the center there when it was really in its infancy.
Well, I tell you what, Jack, first of all, I am here because of God's grace and His grace only. And I was diagnosed 13 years ago with two types of breast cancer, invasive and ductal, with micropapillary invasive cancer, which was, back then, the prognosis was not great. 3 to 4 years is what they said. But God has different plans, as we all know. We think we have the plans and we make the plans, but it's not true. So I worked with a very special friend of mine who also was diagnosed with breast cancer. And many years ago, they would not take the non-diseased. So I had delayed reconstruction. I had 8 rounds of chemo to go through and about 32 rounds of radiation. I had 18 nodes taken and 10 positive 13 years ago. So I wanted to do the chemo and the radiation first, and then I thought, well, I'm lopsided. I had one large breast on the left side and nothing on the right because I had a mastectomy. So I was very, very fortunate here in New Orleans. We have experts in the field in breast reconstruction. And Dr. Sullivan and Dr. Delacroix did my first stage, and then Dr. Delacroix did my second stage. I am very, very blessed and grateful for them in many, many ways. Not only for the work that they do, but for the people that they are. They care about their patients. They love their patients. Sometimes doctors have a reputation of being arrogant. These doctors here at the Center for Restorative Breast are not. You can catch them in the hallway. You can call them on the phone. They're available at any time to you. And they truly, truly care about their patients.
Well, that's the first thing I knew. You know, when you get diagnosed and you get the C word thrown at you, it's confusion. And I know one of the things Dr. Trahan did just immediately was tell me it was going to be okay.
Absolutely. One thing, Jack, we as women need choices, and we need more choices. And we're in the 21st century now, and women are not given choices. People come from all over the world really here, and some women have had to go through 6, 7, 10 surgeries before finding us. We've got to do better about giving women choices and options, because there are many in the breast reconstruction field.
Yeah, there really are. And I was kind of shocked at how many folks come there typically when they've been through multiple other surgeries and almost feel hopeless. You know, they've been to these prestigious, quote unquote, I won't name any, but, you know, names that a lot of folks know that you would just assume would be, you know, the creme de la creme, if you will, in this type of space about dealing with not only the cancer itself, but also the aesthetics and the reconstruction. I just can't imagine as a woman, you know, to have things removed and be looking in the mirror and the emotions that come with that. You know, so many.
Well, and it is a total spiritual, mental, and physical. You know, some people will say, but wait a minute, you just lost a breast. Well, having to look in the mirror and see a hunked up piece of skin with a scar and have nothing there, and then have to use a prosthesis that falls out or doesn't work in clothes and creates symmetry or no symmetry. It's very important for a woman to be able to feel like a woman and feel whole again. And that's what these doctors do. They make you whole again.
Yeah, it's changed my whole dynamics in looking at physicians. You know, I'm in the financial business, and I meet with and have clients that are physicians, and sometimes you look at some of the things that they do or that stigma that you say that they might have, you know, and I tell you, I have just gained a deeper appreciation for the care and the desire to give women hope when it seems like so many people go down rabbit trails. Why is the default path just let's remove and not really mention restoration, do you believe? Is it just that, you know, the community as a whole isn't thinking about that emotional, spiritual, you know, thing, or is it just let's get it done and be done with it and be thankful for that?
I think that's two part. I think this surgery takes experts, first of all, in the field if you use natural tissue. And that's what they did for me, which was a great win-win because I got a tummy tuck at the same time, which I needed, and after 2 children. And then it feels like your breast. It's warm to the touch. You don't have to have anything taken out 10 years from now and replaced. It feels like your body. It is a long operation where they have to tie up, and I can't begin to know what these physicians do because it blows my mind just to think about how they tie the blood vessels together and create this. But I think in this world that we live in, we're a fast food type of community, and women are not given choices. They're not told all the things that they can have or do when it comes to breast reconstruction.
That's a great analogy. You know, maybe our healthcare system from the default has become more like that drive-through system versus that intimacy that's so critical at dealing with such a challenging unknowns that exist. You know, I know right from the moment we got there, from the lady at the front desk to the flowers to the staff. Yeah. I mean, it's like it is absolutely amazing to be in a facility and have all hands kind of marching to the same drum beat. I mean, that's had to take quite some time, I'm sure, huh? I mean,
Oh, and these doctors had this vision. Dr. Trahan, Sullivan, Delacroix, they all had the vision of creating this special place for women, and even down to studying the colors that would be good for cancer. The whole environment here, as they have taken a look at, like you say, with the flowers. And I can't say enough about the nursing care as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they unbelievable. I mean, and the humor, even through a hard time, to try to make light of, you know, that you're going to get through this. You know, that was the most reassuring thing for us, is talking to Chris. I mean, I just trusted him. You know, I knew he did a bunch of it before. I mean, to him, it was like me going and, you know, catching a redfish, Captain Jack reeling in a redfish, but it was just different. And so what do you say to women that are out there that are struggling? You know, they've either been diagnosed, they've, you know, been through this, you know, environment where it's not really about holistic care, but let's just take it out. What do you say to these people that, you know, have kind of reached this point in their life where they have given up hope?
Well, I want to tell them that there is hope. I mean, I'm still here. 13 years later, and thanks to many, many wonderful doctors and medicines. Also, call the Center for Restorative Breast. Find out. Do some checking. You have to be your own advocate. You have to fight for yourself. But not only that, I want to be an encourager to these women, because breast cancer today is not what it was like many, many years ago. We've made great strides. Yes, it seems like there's people diagnosed every day, and there are. It's 1 in 7, I think, and maybe a little bit less than that. But we're making great strides. There are medicines out there that can combat many types, and we just need to keep fighting and encouraging others. And if they want to know about what we do here at the Center for Restorative Breast, please give us a call, and we will be happy to have a consult.
And I love the role you serve in, more from a social worker, patient advocate, working with the families and the patients. I know, yeah, that's how we interacted. And when I first met you, I said, we got to get more publicity on this facility, because had we not been here and known Chris, who knows where we might have gone. We might have gone down into the normal system of you know, not holistic care, fully, you know, looking at the whole experience. So, you know, what is your role, or what's the most exciting thing for you to get up every day to be able to pay it forward with other women that come to you?
Well,
you know,
I hope I'm making a difference, and I'm hoping I'm encouraging them. You know, when I see a young woman crying and upset about just being diagnosed, and I tell them I was stage 3 13 years ago, I'm hoping that gives them great hope, because you know, we all want to live. We want to see grandchildren. We want to raise our children. We want to have a full life. And sometimes that big C word, you know, scares you to death. I'm not going to lie. So
I've told people this over and over. I mean, even though last year was the hardest year, it was probably the best year, you know, in terms of enduring the suffering. And, you know, in our walk in life, we look so often as the mountaintops. And that's why I'm doing this show, really, is, you know, it's really in those valleys when you grow, where you grow in your faith. You grow deeper within one another to get transparent and help each other along. And even as friends, if you see a friend down, you can lift them up. I mean, I think that's your role there with the center. So what I was most amazed about in your facility was how many people had already been through multiple surgeries before they find you all.
Before finding us. I know it.
And talk a little bit about that, if you will, because I think a lot of people may think, well, I've already been down this path and had maybe one breast removed or both, and I'm just okay with it in life, that, you know, I'm just not going to do anything about it. I mean, I was actually talking to a friend of mine the other day who, similar circumstances, you had one removed, and she just made the comment that, you know, she was just going to be okay with just, you know, living with it at this stage.
Live it with it. Don't settle. That's my thing. Don't settle. I had the same reaction. I didn't think, you know, my husband and I had been married for many years. He said, it's okay, whatever you want to do. Which I really appreciated him putting the ball in my court. And I want to talk a little bit about how important support is too when you're going through this. And I want to thank you, Jack, for being there for Renee, because unfortunately, statistically, a lot of men leave their wives. I think it may be over 50% when they're diagnosed with breast cancer, or their girlfriends.
Wow.
And there has been a lot of patients that has happened to. So I want to thank you. I want to thank my husband and my family and friends, because support is absolutely imperative when you're going through breast cancer or any kind of cancer. You need to have people surrounding you and saying, you can fight, you can do this. Going back to just settling, don't settle, because these doctors are amazing. They have performed over 10,000 surgeries. And I had a patient, in fact, today send me a picture. She said, well, I didn't send you my new breast, but I got to tell you, they are so much better than my first set. I am so excited. Please tell the doctors and thank them again for what they have given me. So I think it's important.
That's so strong. It's so strong because, you know, as you said, the traditional way that women have gone to remove the cancer and not think about, you know, the emotional, psychological, as well as spiritual into this is probably, you know, most of the challenge. You know, I was shocked when you said how many men actually would leave a woman in that instance. And in fact, when we were there just for this phase 2, there was a lady who shared and opened up that had actually happened to them. And
that's right.
You know, it was so beautiful to see Dr. Sullivan. I mean, you know, here, world-class surgeon, has to be ranked amongst, you know, the top 1% probably of his peers, to really take the time and genuinely listen and care. You know, just...
And that's the way they all are. Each and every one of them in their own way. And that's what's so wonderful about working for these people.
And so what do you say to women that don't have the support staff, might be single, might not have a big family? Are there other resources and infrastructure out there that might be able to help them from a support?
I think find a support group, call your hospital, call your doctor's office. Unfortunately, you know, many communities don't have a lot of support. I've talked to people over the phone in other cities, and we've tried to find out and coordinate, but others don't. But fortunately, we have the World Web, and we can Google, and there's support groups there that can really help women, and different websites that you can go on, that you can talk peer-to-peer and help each other. And that's it. That's, I believe, imperative as well, because women do like to talk and share. Men maybe a little bit different, but there are a lot of good sites out on the internet.
And how do people find out more about this center and all? They go on Google and they would search New Orleans breast reconstruction, be one way, right?
That's one way. There's a toll-free number on our website. There's all kinds of ways they can call St. Charles Surgical Hospital. We have a website as well. there's many ways to get in contact with us, and just Google us.
And so what's the main message you want to give women that are either have not been diagnosed or not doing mammograms whatsoever? You know, there's a big notion out there that people say, well, you know, mammograms can actually, you know, cause cancers. I mean, you know, what do you say to women that aren't going for it?
I will say this. They found my cancer on a mammogram. I would absolutely encourage anyone over 40, because I know there's been some controversy. They say over 50. No, we see so many young patients here. I say absolutely, you know, over 40. Once a year, have your mammogram. They would have never have found my cancer. It didn't manifest itself like a tumor per se that you could feel. Many women feel their tumors in the shower or wherever. That was not the case. Mine, as one doctor told me, it was like angry teenagers running around in my body, and there were little fingers. So I couldn't have felt it. And I had another physician say, why did you wait so long to come in? And I said, I never knew. I found it on a mammogram. Yeah. So my message is get your mammograms every year without fail.
Yeah, I mean, early detection is such a key thing with cancer, especially breast cancer. And I know, you know, we did catch it early with Renee, and man, she was such a trooper, and I didn't know you going through it, but I'm sure you were a trooper. It's just amazing how strong you women are. I mean, you know, us men, man, we get a little runny nose. We're like, oh, poor fiddle for me. But women just, I don't know if it's the childbearing or what the heck it is. And you.
Well, we gotta be, because we're around you men all the time. We've got to be strong.
And I love the passage in the Bible. My favorite scripture is Jesus wept. You know, it's the most short, yet the most profound. So even in his deity, coming in and showing up and crying over his friend Lazarus, you know, what he was dealing with and the family and the circumstances given that. And I'm sure Lazarus was probably like, man, why are you crying? I'm up here in heaven. I don't want to come back.
Exactly. Well, one of my favorites is be anxious for nothing, and everything asked in prayer and supplication, and it comes to you. Absolutely.
And I think
He has been here every step of the way for me.
And as I told you, when I looked in your eyes, as I was, you know, reeling with all the answers of wanting to know why, who, what, where, when, what next, and just the comfort of you, the advocacy from you was just, I want to, from the depth of my heart, myself and Renee, just thank you, you know, for your care and your, I mean, it's almost, as I told you before, as I was sitting with Jesus himself. I mean.
Oh, now, don't put me in that category.
I mean, it was good. No, it was a comforting. I mean, just.
Well, good.
It was very comforting, and so I thank you.
Live up to that. And I don't know that I could ever live up to that, Jack, but thank you. I appreciate that. I hope to be a comforter to others, because this is not easy. It's not easy to be diagnosed for the entire family. And again, I just thank you for being there for Renee too. She's a trooper and a fighter, and she'll do great.
It's been a joy, you know, and I'm understanding more and more that sometimes we have to go through things to really reprioritize, relook at things, really what's important, and it's really our faith, our family, you know, and health, and everything else is lagniappe, as we say in South Louisiana, you know. And I appreciate the work you guys do, all the physicians there. Just keep on keeping on, and, you know, for you that are out there and may have a family member, or, you know, it might be you yourself, know that there is hope. And you could Google New Orleans breast reconstruction, or the Center for Restorative breast
Restorative breast.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. I mean, the place, from every element, will meet you along the way and give you hope where you may have very little. And Susan, I want to tell you how much I thank you as not only an advocate for the center and patients, but also as a friend.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, and stay tuned till next week when we interview other people that are making huge strides in, whether it's the faith-based community, the health-based like this, dealing with things like cancer, or, just entrepreneurship and business. And, my hope is that something here today might have planted a little seed of hope for somebody out there across the country that might be living under this cloud of cancer, family, whatever the case is. Don't do it alone. Reach out and don't settle for just, so-so surgery. Go to the best. And these guys are definitely the best in my opinion. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next show. Thank you. God bless.
Bless. Thank you.